Princeton began building a campus art collection decades ago as both a manifestation of its commitment to modern art. This came about largely through the so-called Putnam collection that was committed to collecting works by the so-called modern masters, and as a way of putting art in the path of everyday life all across campus, and seeing it as a way of enriching the campus experience writ large. We already have in the Putnam collection one work by Alexander Calder, and this gives us an opportunity in a way to think of this as a campus-wide exhibition of highlights of Calder's output. Right now in front of the museum we have two Calders on loan to us from the Fisher family collection. What I think is especially arresting about Calder's production is that he worked primarily in two idioms. He's the inventor of what were called the mobiles and then the so-called stabiles. In both cases, they're important for the fact that he was one of the real innovators in the move towards pure abstraction, leaving aside any notion of representation in the form of the sculpture. I think in the case of both Man and the Kite That Never Flew, it's tempting to see them in their relationship to each other in a somewhat anthropomorphic way. Almost, they at times make me think of ancient animals stalking one another across the plaza in front of the museum because of the way he uses the folded metal form, that they are both purely abstract and yet resonant of something that's almost kind of subconscious or subliminal. Abstract art can liberate us in a sense because we can bring our own thoughts and issues to it. It doesn't overtly tell us a clear narrative in the way that representational art would be. That's of course exactly what some people find so difficult about abstraction, because they are curious, they're troubled by the lack of clarity about meaning. But that is, I think, its very power. And my message to visitors would be to feel empowered, to let their minds run, to say, what might this mean? How can I develop a relationship with this sculpture? I think one of the great values of having that sculpture in the landscape for a time is that one can have repeat experiences of it, including accidental ones, when you simply are walking past the museum along McCosh Walk and discover these under different light conditions and different weather. To experience them when it was actively snowing was a wholly different experience of those sculptures. When, as someone put it to me, they appeared to be dancing in the falling snow. And it was remarkably true. They were animated in a different way than they would be on a bright sunny day. And I think that's, again, a part of where the richness of experience of abstract art can come from.